Sexually transmitted diseases, or STDs, are infections that can be passed from one person to another via vaginal, anal, and oral sex. STDs can be extremely dangerous to us if they are not treated as soon as possible. Some examples of STDs are chlamydia, gonorrhea, HPV, HIV and AIDS, herpes, syphilis, and many other infections. The best way to detect if you have been infected with an STD or STI is to get tested if you have been sexually active. Most infections can be treated, however, some like herpes and AIDS are not 100% curable. STDs can be transferred through body fluids such as pre-cum, semen, or vaginal fluids. Another way of transmission is body-to-body contact. The best way to avoid contracting an STD is to use condoms, whether that be female, male, and or dental dams, otherwise known as mouth condoms. Refrain from having sexual intercourse. Always get tested if you are sexually active. And even though you may be sleeping with only one person, your partner may have passed on an STD to you without you knowing. Limit your partners and choose wisely. Lastly, communicate. I cannot stress this enough. If you communicate with your partner, you have a higher possibility of being aware of any past history, and you might be aware of any possible STDs. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, in 2015, there were approximately 1.59 million cases of chlamydia reported. Additionally, there were more than 460,000 cases of gonorrhea and nearly 28,000 cases of primary and secondary syphilis. Also reported by the CDC, there were more than 600 cases reported of congenital syphilis. In 2015, it reported 1 in 7 people had HIV, and Florida was ranked number 1 with highest diagnosis.
Sexually transmitted infections, or STIs, are quite common in young people and usually associated with not using condoms when having sex. It's very important that a young person be aware of this and be checked for sexually transmitted infections, in particular if they're not using condoms. Sexually transmitted infections sometimes have symptoms such as burning, itching, and discharge, but can occur without any symptoms at all. And that's why it's very important that several times a year, a young person who's sexually active get tested. Testing is through the urine, and it is very easy and painless. You should see a specialist in adolescent medicine. I am a specialist in adolescent medicine at Mount Sinai Doctors, Brooklyn Heights.
We have recently entered a new era within the last 10 to 15 years. That is known as the social media era. Due to most people being very active on their phones, it would be best to partner with companies like Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. By advertising on popular sites and apps, most people will become aware. There are many places that offer services to get tested. These places offer advice, guidance, therapy for people who need to talk to a medical professional. Here's a couple that are in Tampa, Florida.
STD or anything, do you?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, so you've never been tested?
No.
Really? Okay. I mean, it's not that hard.
I know.
Anyway, it's something to consider.
Okay.
It's a dangerous world out there.
Getting tested for sexually transmitted diseases doesn't have to be scary. Learn more at getcheckedomaha.com.
So, my advice to you is to practice safe sex. If you are having sex, that's okay. Just go ahead and get tested.